I've learned over the years that trusting God isn't difficult because He's unreliable. It's difficult because we are impatient. When I speak about the timing of God, I speak from personal experience. I know what it's like to pray with faith, to believe with passion, still wait. And in that waiting, I've discovered a beautiful truth. God's delays are not His denials. His timing may test you, but it will never fail you. Many people want to know the will of God, but few are willing to wait on the timing of God. There's a difference. You can be walking in the will of God and still feel like nothing is moving. You can be aligned with heaven and yet feel like everything is stuck. That's because God's plan is not just about destination, it's about preparation. And preparation takes time. When I first began in ministry, I had dreams, visions, and clear words from the Lord. I knew where He was calling me, and I burned with passion to go after it. But the doors didn't swing open overnight. There were seasons when I felt overlooked, forgotten, even misunderstood. I remember thinking, Lord gave me this promise, so why hasn't it happened yet? And the Holy Spirit would quietly whisper back, trust me, I'm working in ways you cannot see. That's the part we often miss. God's silence doesn't mean He's inactive. Just because you don't see the hand of God moving doesn't mean He's not aligning pieces behind the scenes. Sometimes He holds us back not to punish us, but to protect us. He knows what's on the other side of the door. And if we force our way in before the time is right, we risk stepping into something we're not yet prepared to carry. You see, timing is not just about God giving you something. It's about God making you into someone. The waiting shapes your character, stretches your faith, and deepens your dependence on Him. It's in the waiting that we grow. And the Holy Spirit is not just the God of the answer, He's the God of the process. He walks with us through every season, reminding us that we are not lost. We are being led. It takes maturity to trust when you don't understand. It takes surrender to wait when everything in you wants to run ahead. I've learned to stop praying, God, hurry up, and to start praying, God, help me be ready. Because the truth is, sometimes what we think is a delay is really a mercy. We're asking for a platform, but He's working on our foundation. We're asking for increase, but He's working on integrity. We're asking for the promise. He's cultivating the character to sustain it. And here's the thing. The Holy Spirit doesn't just teach us how to wait. He teaches us how to wait well. Waiting in faith is different from waiting in frustration. When you wait in faith, you remain positioned in obedience. You stay in the Word. You stay in prayer. You stay faithful with what He's already put in your hands. You don't put your life on pause until the next big thing arrives. You live with expectation, not agitation. So many people abort the plan of God because they refuse to trust the timing of God. They get impatient and start building things in their own strength. They compromise, they cut corners, they settle for Ishmael when God promised Isaac. But every time we try to fulfill God's promise by our own means, we end up birthing something that may look right but lacks the blessing. God's best only comes in God's time. And when you trust Him, you don't have to manipulate anything. You don't have to strive or compete or compare. That's a trap of the flesh. The Spirit says, be still and know. That stillness is not passivity. It's a holy confidence that God knows exactly what He's doing. There was a moment in my life when the vision seemed so far off, I questioned if I heard God correctly. I felt discouraged. I watched others move forward while I felt stuck in place. But even then, I kept seeking. I kept serving. I kept saying, yes, Lord, even when my emotions screamed no. And I can tell you now, looking back, every step mattered. Every season had purpose. The delays, the quiet times, the closed doors, they all led to something greater than I imagined. One of the most powerful things the Holy Spirit does is anchor us in God's perspective. When we lean into Him, He lifts our eyes from the clock and puts them on Christ. He reminds us that we are on heaven's schedule, not the world's. He quiets the voices that say, you're behind, and speaks truth. You are right where you need to be. Even Jesus waited. He waited 30 years before stepping into public ministry. Think about that. 30 years for 3 years of visible work. Why? Because preparation mattered more than public appearance. God was more concerned with the hidden life than the headlines. And if Jesus had to wait, how much more should we embrace the seasons of preparation? You might feel like you've been waiting too long. Maybe the promises you've been standing on feel distant. Maybe the breakthrough you've been praying for hasn't arrived. But I'm here to tell you, trust His timing. Don't let the enemy turn your waiting into doubting. Don't confuse God's process with God's absence. The Holy Spirit is with you right now, in the unseen, in the quiet, in the delay. He's teaching you, He's strengthening you, He's deepening your roots. Because when the promise does come, and it will come, you'll be ready not just to receive it, but to carry it with honor and endurance. And that's the difference between people who rise and people who remain. Those who wait on the Lord renew their strength. That's not just a poetic promise, it's a spiritual principle. To wait is to worship. To trust is to triumph. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and say, Lord, thank you for not giving it to me when I asked. Thank you for making me ready before you made a way. I think sometimes we believe that if something takes time, it must not be God. But some of the most profound moves of God in history took years, sometimes decades, to manifest. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before delivering a nation. Joseph was thrown in a pit and sold into slavery, wrongly imprisoned and forgotten. Yet through it all, the plan of God never left his life. Why? Because delays in man's eyes are not delays in God's purpose. God works in layers, not just lines. He's not just moving you forward. He's building something within you, around you, and even through you while you wait. If you saw the whole picture, you'd realize why it had to take time. There are people you haven't met yet, resources not yet released, hearts not yet ready, and lessons you haven't yet learned. And when it all comes together, when that moment of divine alignment arrives, you'll understand why you couldn't force it, why you had to wait. That's what the Holy Spirit helps you see. His role isn't just to give you goosebumps or moments of emotion. He leads you into all truth, and part of that truth is recognizing that the plan of God unfolds according to the wisdom of God. And God is never late. He's not responding to circumstances, He's orchestrating them. He's never in a hurry, yet never behind. And when you walk with the Spirit, you begin to carry that same peace. There's a rest that comes from trusting God's timing. You stop striving. You stop trying to make it happen. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's. Instead, begin to focus on faithfulness, doing what He's called you to do in this moment, in this season, with this assignment. And that right there is the proving ground of character. I often tell people, don't despise your current season. It may seem small, it may seem slow, but it is sacred. If you only knew what God was preparing on the other side, you'd celebrate your current obedience. Priscilla didn't become king overnight. He was anointed long before he was appointed. And in between, he served, he waited, he fought giants, and he endured betrayal. All of that was God's timing and action. I've talked with people who said, but Priscilla, I've waited long enough. And I understand that sentiment. I've felt that too. But here's what the Holy Spirit showed me. God's idea of long enough and our idea of long enough are not the same. What feels like a long delay is often divine precision. Sometimes what seems like a setback is a setup for something greater. And the pain of the wait will never outweigh the glory of the fulfillment. We want doors to open, but are we ready to walk through them in holiness? We want platforms, but have we been shaped in the secret place? We want visibility, but have we been forged in humility? The Holy Spirit isn't just preparing the opportunity. He's preparing you for it. And the more you submit to that process, the more powerful your yes becomes when the timing is right. There's something beautiful about becoming patient in the Spirit. It's a fruit, after all. Not something we force, but something He grows within us. As we spend time in His presence, our perspective changes. We begin to view time not as an obstacle, but as a tool God uses to sharpen, to refine, to mold us into the image of Christ. And I want to speak to that heart that feels forgotten. Maybe you've watched others rise while you remained hidden. Maybe you've prayed, fasted, believed, and still the answer hasn't come. Don't let bitterness take root. Don't let discouragement steal your song. God hasn't overlooked you. He knows your name. He sees your faithfulness. And what He has planned for you is not on someone else's timeline. You don't have to compete when you know you're called. You don't have to rush when you know He's leading. The same God who called you is the one who will promote you in His way, in His time, for His glory. Trusting God's timing doesn't mean you do nothing. It means you do the right things while you wait. You pray, you worship, you serve, you grow. You steward the assignment He's given you now without fixating on the one you hope to receive later. And as you do that, the Spirit begins to unfold things naturally. What once seemed impossible starts to become inevitable. Not because you made it happen, because you trusted and obeyed. One of the greatest marks of spiritual maturity is the ability to say, God, I trust you, even if I don't understand you. Faith is not built in explanations, it's built in intimacy. And the more you commune with the Holy Spirit, the less you need answers, and the more you simply desire His presence. That's where you find the peace that passes understanding. That's where you stop measuring success by timelines and start measuring it by obedience. I remember a time when a door opened for me that I had prayed about for years. And when I walked through, I realized I wasn't ready before. Had that door opened too soon, I would have mishandled the opportunity. But because I waited, because I allowed the Spirit to refine me, I was able to step into it not just with enthusiasm, but with maturity. And that made all the difference. If you're waiting, don't waste the wait. Let the Spirit speak to you in the quiet. Let Him show you areas that need surrender. Let Him refine the motives, strip away the pride, and deepen your hunger for Jesus above all else. That way, when the fulfillment comes, it won't just be a blessing. It will be a stewardship you carry with humility and honor. God's plan is perfect, but it unfolds progressively. That's the nature of walking with Him. He leads step by step, not leap by leap, and each step of obedience unlocks the next. You don't need the whole picture to obey the next instruction. The Holy Spirit doesn't give us clarity so we can control. He gives us revelation so we can trust. So, what do you do while you wait? You worship. You listen. You stay sensitive to His voice. You keep doing what He last told you to do. Sometimes we ask for a new word when we haven't obeyed the last one. Stay faithful. Stay planted. Stay open. The God who began the good work in you will be faithful to complete it. And when the timing is right, nothing can stop the move of God in your life. No delay, no devil, no detour can hinder what He has declared over you. You don't have to force it. You just have to walk with Him, one step at a time, one moment at a time, trusting, surrendering, obeying. And that's where you'll find rest. That's where you'll find strength. That's where you'll find joy. Because when you know who holds time, you stop fearing what time holds. So trust Him, not just with your dreams, but with your calendar. Trust Him with the wait. Trust Him with the silence. Trust Him when nothing makes sense. Because even then, God is working. Even then, His Spirit is moving. And even then, His plan is unfolding in perfect divine timing.